All right, I will call the meeting of the Historic Preservation Commission to order today. And the first item of business is the consent agenda, which includes the administrative COAs, the meetings for March 15th, and a listing of new owners in the historic districts. Do I hear a motion to approve?
I move to approve.
Is there a second?
Yes, second.
Okay. All those in favor, say aye.
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 All right, the motion is approved. Let's see, I can't see the agenda, Victoria. Sorry. Okay, our first item is a consideration of the request of the property owner at 1316 Pierce Street. Is there someone here to speak to them?
Yes, this is Joseph Shalev.
All right, welcome. Would you again state your name and your address, please?
Joseph Shalev, 1316 Pierce Street.
All right, Mr. Shalev, would you tell us what you're proposing to do?
First is I would need to replace the front door because it cannot be salvaged. It's just too much, and it's too much damaged. And not only damaged, but also it's not square anymore. So I cannot add on the sides or on top of the door. It's just irreplaceable.
Uh-huh.
In the back, I would like to replace that. Actually, I put the door already there because I needed a door for an exit. I took the plywood off and I put the door. And it's after the fact that I had to put a door in, so I just put a door.
All right. Is this the door that you're proposing for the front?
Either one of these two doors I would like to put in the front, yes.
All right. Commissioners, do you have comments or questions?
I'll speak to it, Sean, this is my neighborhood.
Right, please.
But I've spoke with Mr. Shalev, just very not as a professional meeting, but just as a neighbor, and he was asking about this door, and he actually wanted to change the size of the door. Are you still wanting to do that? Or are you just wanting to stay with the original size of the door?
Original size, it's not feasible inside to put an extra 4 inches, even though I would like to have it just stay with the 32 inches wide.
And then I also have a question on the rear of the house. I don't remember what it looked like on the rear, but I imagine that it looked, I do remember that it looks very similar to your neighbor next door on the rear, where it had a window over the back door. In the Victoria, if you have a picture of that, of the neighbor's, kind of a long shot of the neighbor's back door. But it had actually this house originally had a little porch over the rear door and a door above this door. And I know that you replaced the siding on the rear. Did you replace that door and take out the shed roof?
I did take the shed roof off because it was falling. It was a hazard, and I replaced it already with another one similar, and it was already approved. And the door above the roof, the little awning, yes, there was a door, and last meeting, like about a year and a half ago, I had permission to take that door off
I see.
and put siding over there, and I had it approved to put a back window.
Okay, I couldn't remember. I couldn't remember that. Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So other comments or questions?
So the front door that you're proposing is like your neighbor's front door. I'm assuming you're kind of looking at these doors. Another brief conversation that when we talked was you were looking at various doors in the neighborhood, and I mentioned to you that some of these doors that you might be comparing your front door to were doors that were put on the house before it was made a historic district. And then you also have houses that are original that were never changed from the original door. And then you have doors that were changed after it was made a historic district. So I know it's a little confusing in trying to look at this neighborhood in comparisons.
Yes, because I wanted to show you that in comparison to the brochure that you have for criteria to replace the front doors are not really matching the street. It's made more for a 10-foot ceiling and a 10-foot porch and on and on. So I just wanted to show you that I do have something that will blend in to what we have currently in the neighborhood. That's what I wanted to show. And I wanted to show that the majority actually of the doors are not according to the criteria of the Historical Society. So
that what I was just trying. I explained to you with it being kind of before, after, and during historic preservation. But the door that you're looking at replacing the front door with, is that a aluminum clad door, not a wooden door?
Wood
or is
door.
it a wooden door? Is it a wooden door?
Wood door, yes.
It is a wooden door. Because the house at 1300 Pierce Street that you have a picture of that actually has the two side lights, that has a door very similar to this, and the two side lights at 1300 Pierce Street, right here.
Yes.
That is an original door.
It is not?
It is.
Okay. So this is to match it. I cannot find a 12. You see, that has 12 windows in it, but I cannot match. I can only find 9 of them.
Oh, I'm not saying that it has to have a side light. I'm just saying that the front door that you're comparing to is very similar to that door, which is an original door to this house on the street.
Now I love this door, but it's up to you guys.
Would it be possible to get this option 1 door with the 3/3, but 1 panel at the bottom as opposed to 2 panels? Do you know if that's available?
I have no idea. I don't know.
That would, I think, Sean, what we're seeing in that one you're referencing, 1300, it appears to be 1 panel at the bottom.
Right. Absolutely.
And I think one of the other pictures that we saw, that one, Jason, keep going, Victoria, through the there's one in there. That one to the right, it looks like 4/4, but a single panel at the bottom. I'm thinking.
Yes, and that's, and you're absolutely right, Commissioner Levsky. And that's a solid door at the top. And that's an original door to the house.
I think the neighborhood you would have found a single panel at the bottom. The double panel looks to be a little more in the arts and crafts mode. It'd be wonderful, Mr. Shalev, if you could find I don't think, we would be saying, okay, you need a 3/4, like that 1300 one. I think that's a bigger door. I think the 3/3 that you have would be great. But I think it would be much better if there was one panel at the bottom as opposed to two. It would seem like that would be an option.
Okay. I am very happy to put any door from.
Yeah. Functional is good, yes. And I think, Victoria, in the one on the back, that's in hindsight. I guess, it's already in place and it's not to the public view. I guess we could let that one go. It'd be nice if they were both the same, but,
Yeah.
I think we'd be overstepping if we went backwards and said, take that one out and put one in. So if Shonda, if you're looking for a motion, I'd make the motion that we approve the option 1 door if you can find it with a single panel at the bottom as opposed to 2 panels.
All right, and would you like to include the back door in your motion?
Sure, and that we would accept the back door in hindsight as is.
All righty. Is there a second to the motion?
I second.
Any further discussion? Okay, Victoria, would you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Erguiaga? Is that a yes? Oh,
Muted.
says I'm not.
I do have a question, if it's possible.
Sure.
Yep.
What if I cannot find a one-panel door?
Victoria, would that be a resubmit?
Believe so.
Yeah, Mr. Shallow, if you could do some research or have your contractor do some research or you do some and see if that's a possibility. And if not, come back to us and, we can certainly take a second look at it.
Okay, I just Googled it and I did find one for about $2,000. I don't think and that's a 42-inch wide door.
All right, we can be in
Well,
communication, Mr. Shelov, as
yeah.
you look into this.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
All right,
Thank
Mike,
you.
I think you're still muted. Give a thumbs up if your motion is aye. Great. Commissioner Horner,
Aye.
Commissioner Lipsey,
Aye.
Commissioner Spencer Hester.
Aye.
Great.
All right. The motion passes, and we thank you for being with us today. And if you have any questions, I think check with Victoria.
Thank you very much.
Right. Okay, the next item on the agenda is 2301 Rivermont Avenue. Oops. Is there someone here to speak?
I'm the owner of 2301.
All right, would you state your name and address and your request, please?
My name is Trig Brody, 2301 Rivermont Avenue, and respectfully request that the committee approve the material that we want to use to redo the 2 porches.
Shonda, you're muted.
sorry, I said thank you, Mr. Brody, and welcome. I think we've seen your house before.
Yes, ma'am.
So is there a question or a comment from one of the commissioners?
I believe, Victoria, the comment that if painted, the faux wood is acceptable in the district, is that correct? So it looks like what you're proposing is would meet the guidelines, if that be the case.
Yes, we're doing something that's been approved before. My understanding is.
Yeah. So I'd move to be approved as submitted.
Is there a second?
Did somebody second that?
We need a second.
Second. I was on mute. Sorry.
Okay, thank you. All right, any further discussion? All right, are you ready for the vote? Victoria?
Commissioner Arriaga. Is that a thumbs up? Okay. Commissioner Horner,
Aye.
Commissioner Lipsey,
Aye.
Commissioner Spencer Hester.
Aye.
Motion passes.
All right, thank you, Mr. Brody. You're good to go.
Bye-bye. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, the next item on our agenda is 301 Cabell Street. Is there someone here to speak?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, would you state your name, address, and your request?
My name is Christina Brummie. My address is 301 Cabell Street, and I have two requests regarding the gutters as well as window replacement.
All right, would you first of all explain about replacing your front windows?
Sure. So all of the windows in the home currently are not functional. None of them actually will open. Most of them are painted shut. And then I've included a number of different pictures because the windows are either too small for the window frame, leaving up to about ½ an inch of a gap that is just open to the outside, versus too large, and then a dowel was put in place and sort of the locking mechanism was up, but it also cannot actually physically be locked. So we think that we have to replace all of the windows in the home, and we not only for safety, but also it's really not particularly environmentally friendly right now since we have a lot of just wide open spaces. We have a variety of materials of windows. I would say the bulk of them are wood with the aluminum sliders, a lot of which has been mangled because of the improperly fitted windows. And then we have a couple of vinyl windows at the rear of the house. So we had a couple of different proposals in terms of what we would like to replace the windows with, because ideally we would like there to be consistency. We would like to do a fiberglass composite that can most accurately be matched to a wooden window. And since these are not original to the house, that kind of meets our goals of improving the environmental friendliness while still being very compatible with the historic nature of the home. If that is not, if that's not something that the Preservation Society is interested in, we also propose that the front windows, which we've highlighted in red on that diagram, those are the front-facing windows, and then I included the one that's right on the corner between Cabell Street and C Street. We would replace those with wood windows. And then the back green windows that are not front-facing windows, we would do the composite. Again, just because I think from a maintenance standpoint and an environmental standpoint, those seem to be our best option.
Okay. Let's talk about this one before we move to the request about gutters, if that's okay with everybody. What questions or comments do the commissioners have?
Victoria, if I'm remembering correctly, pure vinyl windows are excluded in the guidelines, but wood windows that are aluminum clad are acceptable. They don't have to be fully wood, they can be clad. So I hope I'm saying this right, Brummy?
Yes.
You know, certainly the wood windows up front where you have the red marks seem to be appropriate if you're doing the same, you know, number of lights. You know, I'm not sure if you have a 3/3 or what in terms of existing, but where you have the green, the vinyl windows just as a part of the guidelines are not allowed, but you can have clad wood windows, which are a little different and a little less than the pure wood, and certainly from a maintenance standpoint over time, they aren't there. I'm okay with the full replacement, Victoria, from the standpoint it looks like we have a whole mix of windows and a lot not original. So I personally am okay with the full replacement of windows in the house, but I think we need to step towards the guidelines and either make them all wood or at least all clad.
May I ask a question about that? Just because
Sure.
I know that the fiberglass composite windows are sort of like the newest generation, so that came after the wood clad windows. So those aren't specifically mentioned in the guidelines. Has anyone tried to put these in a historic home?
Yes, ma'am. We have had vinyl windows proposed on a number of projects in the past, and we've basically had these same comments.
Yes, but I guess what my question is vinyl windows are different than fiberglass composite.
Victoria, I'm not sure if that has come forward before.
Victoria, can you comment on that? I'm not aware that we've ever talked about fiberglass for plastic.
I'm not aware either, and the guidelines are not clear on that. The guidelines state vinyl, so that's what we have at the moment.
Maybe Christina, what we need, maybe Victoria, what we need to do before we take an absolute vote on this would be to poll some of the other historic commissions in the state and see what has come forward. I'll be very blunt. It's not a product that I'm familiar with, and to know enough to just immediately say, oh, heck no. I think I'd like to have more information before we make a final judgment then.
And what the reason why I ask about it is because a couple of the contractors that we have been working with, who we've been careful about who we're selecting and that it's someone who is comfortable with a historic renovation, they have said that they most accurately represent sort of the wood, and you can get the same colonial framing with the number of panels that you need a little bit more easily without and sort of achieving the better maintenance without sacrificing it having historic compatibility.
Yeah, it could be the case. I think one of the big things about vinyl windows is just their longevity. I think from a historical standpoint, we've found that they haven't been up to the standards of a historic district. So these new fiberglass ones may be. Like I said, I think, Victoria, we need to find some more data before we make a final judgment.
Christina, if you send me a material tear sheet of what you would like to use or some more specifications, then I can reach out to other localities and see what their procedure is.
Okay. Perfect.
So I guess a motion, Shanda, would be to table the window decision until we get some further detail.
Yes.
I'd make that motion to table item, I think that's item 2, about the windows.
All right. Is there a Mike second? Any further discussion? Okay. Victoria, will you call the roll, please?
You're muted, Victoria.
Commissioner Iguiaga?
Aye.
Commissioner Horner?
Aye.
Commissioner Lucy?
Aye.
Commissioner Spencer Hester?
Aye.
Motion passes.
All right. Thank you. So, Mrs. Brummy, do you understand what we're doing there?
Mm-hmm. Yep,
All right. Okay, so now we'll move on to the gutters.
Okay. For the gutters, I included both maintenance in kind as well as the proposed new gutters, just so everyone could see what we're working with. The green on the diagram are the proposed new gutters. Currently, right now, a lot of them are pulled away from the house. They both need cleaning, but then also need a full assessment to see which ones are salvageable. And then when it comes to the new gutters, our primary concern is there is sort of the long side of the house has very poor drainage because of the grading, and we were going to just put an impermeable barrier up against the foundation. But as you can see, when it rains, it's just pooling right there. So I think unless we have some sort of way to reroute the water, we're still going to run into similar problems with drainage, and putting a new gutter on seems a little bit more reasonable than proposing anything like regrading or doing something that would considerably change the appearance of the side of the house. And then the front part of the porch similarly has a drainage problem where the water basically comes off one corner, and then where it is pooling on the ground underneath that porch column is actually sinking, which we would like to repair. But again, if we don't have a solution from a drainage standpoint, I think it's just going to be a cumulative process that keeps happening. We asked the prior owners, and they had provided us with some pictures of the home when they had bought it, and there were no gutters on either of those that I could sort of say these did exist at one time. So as I understand it, this would be sort of new. Our plan is to have all of them be consistent and be the half round aluminum gutter, so nothing new compared to the rest of the house.
Mm-hmm. All righty, thank you. Questions or comments?
Ms. Brummy, are the existing half round gutters unpainted?
It looks like to be honest, some of them are unpainted and some of them are painted. And then the downspouts, most of them are white, even if the gutter above them is sort of the aluminum color. So we would ideally like everything to be consistent.
Yeah, I think those gutters probably are galvanized metal as opposed to aluminum.
Okay.
I think, and that would be, in my thinking, completely appropriate for both the repairs and for the new.
Okay.
I don't have a problem with the new. I think certainly managing water on a historic house is step one. You always, like you said, start at the top and work your way down. No need to fix that column until you fix the water coming on it. So from my standpoint, it would make sense to approve what you're asking for like kind in terms of galvanized, and I'm fine with unpainted. I think you could go either route. They may well have been white at some point in time, depending on how they were installed and when they were installed.
Mhm.
So, Shanda, I'd make a motion to approve the gutters as galvanized in like kind as submitted.
All righty, thank you. Is there a second?
I'll
Second.
second.
Okay, okay, I didn't know whether you were.
All right. Victoria, any further discussion? If not, Victoria, will you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Aguiaga,
Aye.
Commissioner Horner,
Aye.
Commissioner Lipsy,
Aye.
Commissioner Spencer Hester.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Perfect.
All right. So Ms. Brummy, you can move ahead with the gutters and we will reconsider
The windows, perfect.
the windows. All
Thank
righty.
you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, next on our agenda is 409 Harrison Street. Is there someone here to speak to that?
Yes, my name is Joseph Ayers. I'm the owner of 409 Harrison Street.
All righty. And will you tell us your request, please?
Yes, our house currently has no gutters. There is evidence of the gutters previously having been installed. I can see gutters, the downspouts coming down from the side of the house. I'm requesting to put in half-round gutters on the house to prevent water damage and just, preserve the longevity of the home.
All righty. Okay, thank you. Commissioners, what say you?
I think just like the last one we discussed, clearly what's there are the galvanized, and yeah, I guess when the roof was replaced, I don't know if that was before you, Mr. Ayers, or not. There would have been gutters there to connect to the downspouts. So half round galvanized would certainly be appropriate.
Yeah, that's what I intend to do. And we just moved in about a month ago, so that's kind of top priority, is just to keep the water away from the foundation.
Absolutely. So, Shanda, Commissioner Horner, I'd move to approve as submitted with galvanized half rounds.
All righty, thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mike. Further discussion? If not, Victoria, will you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Aguiaga,
Aye.
Commissioner Horner,
Aye.
Commissioner Lipsy,
Aye.
Commissioner Spencer Hester.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Mr. Irish, you're good to go.
Okay, thank you very much.
All righty, thank you. All right, we are still on Harrison Street, it looks like.
It says it's
Victoria?
admitting. It says that admitting her. It's just taking a second.
Okay. All right. Next on our agenda is 1013 Harrison Street. Is there someone here to speak to the request?
It looks like she disappeared. The commission can decide whether they would like to review without her or with her, or however you want to proceed.
All righty. The request is for fencing, dog-eared fencing. So how would you like to proceed?
Victoria, does she have did they have a picture of the proposed fence? I mean, the term dog-eared leads me to think of.
I believe she is now with us.
Ah, okay. All right, now welcome. If you would state your name and address and explain to us what you're hoping to do.
Her picture was muted earlier.
Victoria?
Now you can hear me.
Ah, okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right. If you would state your name, address, and the nature of your request, please.
Certainly. My name is Callan Sponholz. My address is 1013 Harrison Street in Lynchburg.
All righty. And if you would tell us what you're requesting permission to do.
We want to put a privacy fence that pretty much mirrors the blue house right next to ours around the back of our yard to keep our dogs in and other dogs out.
All righty. And I think when you were not hearing what we were saying, we were asking, was there a picture of the fence that you propose?
Yes, I see it on my screen now. Victoria, on their screen?
Yeah.
Yep.
And this matches the fence next door?
That's correct. Their fence is quite a bit older, but it's the same top, the dog-eared top, and it's the same wood, etc.
Mm-hmm. Okay, commissioners?
Is that the neighbor's fence to the right up in the corner? I'm trying to. Which
that one,
fence?
Yeah, there, 1011 Harrison is the neighbor's
Oh,
fence.
okay, gotcha. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And is that fence painted or has it aged?
The one straight in the back there, the white one, is not fence. That one looks like it's painted. That's the neighbor behind us. But the one next to us, 1011, the one that we're going to mirror, it is not painted, and neither will ours be. It'll just be plain wood color.
Okay. Questions, commissioners?
Victoria, was I seeing in your administrative notes that dog-eared is acceptable? That last sentence, dog-eared are all acceptable? And does the guidelines speak to painted versus natural finish?
I thought it did. I thought it was supposed to be not painted.
I think I see Victoria looking in the book.
Okay. Not my book.
It doesn't say paint or no paint.
It says 9.
So it says that wood pickets are appropriate for front yards and should be painted or stained light, white or beige tones, but that's for front yards. And it doesn't mention painting on rear or side yards.
Okay.
Okay. But it does say that dog-eared fences are acceptable.
Well, given that guideline, I'd move to accept as submitted.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All righty. Victoria, will you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Arriaga,
Aye.
Commissioner Horner,
Aye.
Commissioner Lipsy,
Aye.
Commissioner Spencer Hester.
Aye.
Motion passes.
All right. Thank you, Mrs. Feinholz, and you're good to go.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. All right, next on our agenda is 421 Rivermont Avenue. We've been there before. Is there someone here to speak to the request?
Yeah, I'm here. This is Casey Service with Architecture Design Office.
All righty, welcome, Casey. If you would tell us once again what you propose to do.
Yes, so we're looking at redeveloping this structure for multifamily apartments. And we came last June. A number of our items were approved, but there were 2 items that were deferred, which were reopening the existing blocked-in windows on both long sides of the elevation of the building, and then we had proposed originally some circular windows above those. So we just deleted those circular windows from scope. And then I've been trying for a year to go to Jones Memorial Library, but they're still closed. We were able to dig up one historic photograph of the building that shows that the openings on the side elevations were windows at some point, but it's a pretty oblique angle. So we have no information on what the windows did look like in those openings. The owner opened up a small hole from the inside of one of the blocked-in windows, and it's blocked straight through. So whenever they block them in, it appears they removed the windows in their entirety. So we're proposing to go in with new windows that closely match the steel sash in sort of shape and configuration that are existing at the back, just with a large fixed square at the bottom and a operable awning at the top. So we'd have one larger mullion, so about 2/3 of the way up, going across the opening.
Okay. Questions for Mr. Service?
Mr. Service, the ones in the front in that photo that we can see,
Yes.
are you emulating those, or is there a different window in the rear?
Those are still in place, and we're not emulating those because those are super narrow casements that the proportions of those window openings don't match the ones on the side. Victoria, if you go to the next sheet, or did I only, yeah, that you can see on the right there, that rear elevation, and then at the far left of the side elevation, those 3 existing steel sash openings or steel sash windows still exist, and they're approximately the same size opening as the ones that are currently blocked in. So it was our best guess that these more closely matched those windows.
So, Victoria, could you point to the one, I guess that's the lowest window in the tower?
Yes, exactly.
That one?
Yeah.
So you're emulating those windows along the side of in essence, what was the auditorium.
Yeah.
And is it the same format with, I guess, what am I seeing, a 6, is it 6
I guess
wide?
so it's right now it's 5 wide. And the existing ones are 5 wide and 5 tall. It's from what the windows that we've found to get that size would be 5 wide and 6 tall in terms of number of lights.
You couldn't match the 5 by 5?
I haven't been able to, but if that was, it's the largest in terms of buying windows. These openings are bigger than any that we found. But we could, if that was a direction, I think we could probably get a custom window to at least match the numbers.
And is your proposed window going to have I'm assuming that's an awning, the little 3 by 3
Yes.
was an awning in the original. You're going to do the same thing?
We've found that it's almost impossible to get awnings in the middle of windows.
Yeah.
So we're showing an awning at the top of the new windows, with the top 2 rows, and then it fixed for the bottom 4 rows of lights.
Okay.
And
what about in terms of mullion thickness? What's your new compared to the existing? Is that like a steel industrial window in the back?
It is a steel industrial window in the back, so we would look at getting as close as we can in the minor mullions. But anything made today is going to have a wider perimeter frame, and the break between the 2 windows, top and bottom, would be wider than what's currently there in the back.
Yeah, I think for me, I'd like to see a little more information, like some decent photographs of the existing window and some cut sheets or something on what the new is going to be.
Okay.
I'm a little anxious of, that we're going to see, a full 2 by 4 Collier kind of window in the middle of the mullions and stuff. I'd like to have a little more information to be able to make an informed decision.
That's fair. That's not the intention in terms of storefront, but I hear you.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I'd just like a little more data, Victoria.
I agree with you, and I'm just wondering, isn't there some way to get in touch with Louis Averett at the Jones Library and see if you can have access to some of them?
I have called them and talked to somebody there several times over the last 10 months, and I always got a no. But I wouldn't be surprised if it was coming from one of the commissioners, if that answer might change.
Yeah, I think it would be helpful to me.
I agree.
Yeah. So.
Even if if there's a charge, even if they can, fax it to you or send it to digital copy.
I've asked even for that, and that is the answer.
They won't do that either. Wow.
Nope. Yeah.
Victoria, does the city have any communication channel with Jones?
Well, they're in a city building.
They are. It's something that I'm aware of. I can ask around, but my knowledge is as much as yours.
Yeah, if you would explore that, that'd be wonderful. I think that would go a long way to helping the architect and the owner in terms of making decisions. If they could find original drawings, that would be stunning.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know they have something. I don't think it's going to be drawings. I think it's largely going to be theater playbills and the sort. But it says there are photos in their what they have. So
Casey, have you gone to Nancy Marion?
That's where the one picture we found came from.
Okay.
Yeah.
Louis Favorite is a friend of mine and a personal friend, and I'm happy to call him too, and just explain to him that we're trying to help you and you're trying to help the city.
Yeah.
So I will do that. Yeah.
Okay.
So I need your contact information though, Mr. Service, so we can do that after the fact.
Yep. And Victoria has all my information, so.
Okay, I can do that. So Emmett, do you have a motion that you'd like to
I
make?
guess I'd make a motion to table this until further information is provided.
All righty, is there a second?
Second.
All right, thank you, Sean. Any discussion? Okay, Victoria, will you call the roll, please? And
Commissioner Rialga,
Aye.
Commissioner Horner,
aye.
Commissioner Lifsey,
Aye.
Commissioner Spencer Hester.
Aye.
All right, motion passes.
All right, thank you. And
Shonda, can I just add something I should have
Yes.
brought up, but Commissioner Lefsky had mentioned, asked that the architect provide pictures as well. If he could provide those, what he's proposing to install in the window.
Yeah,
Yes.
cut sheet or something like that.
Yeah, we have pictures of the existing that were in the last submittal, but whenever we resubmit, I'll make sure I include the existing and then a cut sheet.
great. Anything else that we would like Mr. Service to provide? All right, if not, thank you, Mr. Service.
Thank you.
And
You all have a
we
good night.
Thank you, you too. We'll stay in touch.
Sounds good. Bye.
Okay.
All right, thank you, everyone. I don't believe there are any other items for today.
All right. Yes, sir.
I've got a quick one, Shonda.
All right.
Victoria, I think you were contacted by Dr. Jay White. They own the house at 1304 Oak Lane. It's the former farmhouse of the property that was developed back in the day, I guess, when Virginia Baptist Hospital was built and everything was happened there. And it sat back off of Rivermont Avenue, and there are now two houses in front of it that face Rivermont that are in the historic district. Well, Dr. White has purchased that home, and he's I think he pinged you and you gave him to me because that's my district, that, you know, we talked about some appropriate colors because it's a white clapboard farmhouse, and we were talking about, you know, appropriate colors for what that would have been originally. And they were interested in trying to go in the historic direction. And I think he pinged you and he ended up pinging me about, is there a possibility of them getting into the historic district, expanding the district to encompass their house as well?
I'm sorry, I might be misunderstanding you. It sounds like, I believe that the house is already in the historic district, but they were looking to get into the historic district.
Oh, is it included already?
I believe so. If you want to wait 1 second, I can take a look.
I'll be honest with you, I did not drill down into the district to check on that.
Let's see, 1304.
Right, 1304 Oak Lane.
They are within the historic district.
Ah, okay. Well, yikes. I'll respond to him and tell him he already is. I don't know if he was submitting to you to talk about, to get approval on colors. I know what he was asking.
It was, and it was hard for me to determine the style of the house and to understand what colors would be appropriate. And in cases like that, we ask the advocate for the area what colors they think would be appropriate, or if they have any input.
Yeah, and he and I went back and forth on what that was, and he wants to go back to just the white farmhouse. You know, now it's, I forget what it's the body of the house is a color now. And what he was talking about doing was absolutely appropriate, in my opinion, for a farmhouse, to go back to the basic white clapboards. And So I told him that, but I'll respond to his email and I guess try to clarify exactly what was going on. And, you know, it may be that he will contact you for administrative approval on that. Or if you feel like it needs to come before the commission just to have a little blessing, a little set of eyes on it, that'd be fine.
Okay, well, it sounds like the P's are on your knife, Emmett.
All right. I'll follow up with him.
All righty. Any other comments, requests from the commission? If not, we stand adjourned, and thank you, Victoria.